The ramifications of structures within digital spaces are wide-reaching. Art cannot avoid expressing some larger message. Whether this expression is baked into the work by the creators or found through our semiotic engagement with the thing itself is of little consequence. Gameplay, and the various structures that uphold the state of play and the space of play, invariably facilitate commentaries upon themselves. The notion of life in video games leads back to the very first interactive game device, Thomas Goldsmith Jr. and Ethel Ray Mann's cathode ray tube device, where players could fire at dots that were abstracted representations of airplanes in order to shoot them down. 1972's Space War developed further on this model and turned it competitive. Players attempted to shoot each other's spaceships down. Thus, the notion of player lives was established. Today, multiplayer combat and player life is something we take for granted. We shoot, stab, and blow each other up in digital realms every day in numbers incalculable. This is Planetside 2, a massive first-person game where 3 factions fight over multiple continents on a distant planet called Araxis. Battles can be huge, players numbering in the hundreds. Second by second, combatants kill each other, and then they respawn and continue. Planetside 2 isn't making any intentional commentary through its structures, but the respawn mechanic and the persistent nature of the world do so nonetheless. A match in Call of Duty or Counter-Strike might have respawns, but there's always an end to combat. One team or player wins the match. Matches themselves can be seen as windows of time that exist within the continuum of the game space. Dust 2 has been the site of millions of engagements, and they all take place in a broader spectrum of matches held on the map. There's no way to properly perceive the trajectory of these conflicts. Their numbers are vast, and because many servers are hosting the map, there's hundreds of battles taking place at the same time. The conflict in these games, when viewed broadly, never ends, but individual matches still do. In Planetside 2, there are no matches, no base units of time that represent a start or stop to conflict. There are always battles taking place in a persistent game space. The occupation of outposts and locations will change from faction to faction, but this doesn't signal an end to anything because there is no end. Opposing factions can't truly be wiped out because players can't really die. This is actually something that exists within the broader lore of Planetside. Upon death, characters are rebirthed through magic space technology that reconstructs them from a DNA sample. It's merely a handwave to justify the existence of respawning, but the constant rate of respawn and the scale of the conflict ludicrously make comment about Planetside's game space. Don't get me wrong, a good play session of Planetside is a hell of an adrenaline rush, but the relentless nature of the combat also does a damn good job of making the player feel like a cog in their faction's war machine. The continual respawns tell the player that they can't escape from combat in this world. The points expressed may seem rather trite. War is bad. Soldiers are seen more as assets than as people. These are cold truths that we know from the real world, but Planetside makes these the hallmarks of its structures. Individuals may do heroic things on the battlefield, but they can't stop the war, and upon death, they're tossed back in with little more than some experience points to show for it. It's tempting to say that digital life doesn't matter, that there's no value to a player's living or dying in a video game because they're not truly alive in those spaces. When you headshot someone, you're not really killing them, you're just killing a collection of data that represents the individual. Planetside makes me question this. There's something unsettling about a game space where death is denied and war is constant. It's fun, it's exciting, and I love playing it, but Planetside systems uphold a narrative wherein no one has any value, which paradoxically makes me grapple in finding the value of other players and myself while we're participating in the game. The game structures reinforce a bleak, nihilistic outlook towards war, while the moment-to-moment gameplay is pulse-pounding and each kill is a miniature moment of triumph. I don't think about the other player or their digital avatar when I kill them. I just pull the trigger and mow them down. But what does that really mean? For now, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think playing these games is a problem. I don't think playing games about war is a problem. I love Planetside too. But the next time I have an enemy soldier in my sights, I might just pause for a moment.